Hello, my name is Utkarsh Jain, and the purpose of this video presentation is to understand what is CFA, why you should do or you should not do CFA, and if at all you decide to go further with the program, what should be the exact process for following it. So this presentation would cover 5 important areas. The first area would be what is CFA. Then we would talk about the costing part of it in terms of what is the fees that would be required. We would talk about what kind of career opportunities that exist after having done this program. Then we would spend some time and understand what is the CFA curriculum, which all subjects you would be studying and what would be the level of depth. And then finally, we would look at what is the format and type of the examination. So let us start with question number 1, what is CFA? The full form of CFA is Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA. Now there is an institute in US which is called as Chartered Financial Analyst Institute, which is based in Virginia. This institute simultaneously conducts this program across the globe, and this program is conducted over the format of 3 levels. Okay, so these 3 levels or these 3 exams are called as level 1, level 2 and level 3. So now the first exam, which is CFA level 1, is conducted twice in a year. So this exam can be written either in June or it can be written in December. Whereas the level 2 and level 3 exam is to be written only once in a year. So you can write level 2 only in June and you can write level 3 only in June again. So let us say that you start your level 1 in the December with the December exam. In that case, December to June would be a window period of 6 months, and then June to June would be a window period of 12 months, which means that this program can be finished with a period of 18 months. Whereas if you start your exams in June, so if you take your level 1 in June, then June to June, and then again June to June, so this would take you a window period of 24 months. So you would see 2 types of people in the industry. The first one would boast about having passed everything in the first go and having finished it in 18 months. And the second category would say that even I have passed everything in the first go, but I have taken 24 months. None of them are lying. The one who says I have finished it in 18 months must have started in December, and the other category of people must have started in June. Now, what is the eligibility? The eligibility for writing level 1 exam is that you should be a graduate or you should be a final year of graduation student. So if you are in the final year of engineering or final year of BCom, BBA, then you are eligible for this exam. The second important eligibility is that you should have a valid international passport. Now, without having a passport, you would not be allowed to register for the exams in the first place. So having passport is mandatory. A lot of people would ask this question that why passport is required, and I feel that there are 2 possible reasons why this would be required. The first very apparent reason is that this is an international ID proof. So CFA Institute would feel a bit reluctant to use other ID proofs, and the second apparent reason is, or second reason which I feel is that the demand and supply of candidates is managed on a global level. So CFA Institute wants to avoid a scenario where there is an excess supply, let us say in China, and excess demand in India. So they would want people who are internationally mobile so that that demand and supply analysis can be managed on a global scale. Now we would come on to the pricing part. There are 3 different slabs in which you can register for level 1, and think of this as some sort of an early bird discount. So if you register very early, you come into the first slab and then the fees is lesser. If you register very close to the exam, then the last slab where the fees would be substantially higher, and then in the second slab the fees is somewhere moderate. So now if you register here in the first slab, it's almost 8 to 9 months before the exam, and it kind of kills your flexibility. Whereas if you register in the last slab, then again what is happening in this particular slab is that the fee increases almost by $300, $350, and it becomes a bit expensive. So the slab that we generally recommend is the second slab, and the current level of fees for this slab is somewhere around $1,140. So for December exam, the last date is, in this particular year, is somewhere close to August. And for January, that date would be somewhere in the month of February. Sorry, I said for June, that would be somewhere in the month of February. So this $1140, let's say with current exchange rate, the Indian equivalent would be 60,000 rupees. Now for level 2 and level 3, you don't have to pay that registration fee. So you have to pay only your exam fee, which is $700 and $700. So in Indian rupees, let us say this would be slightly on the higher side, would be about 42,000 rupees, and again another 42,000 rupees. That means the cumulative cost of this program is going to be less than 1.5 lakhs in entirety, including all the 3 levels. Now the program is really excellent. There are excellent job opportunities, excellent growth opportunities. But if you'll ask me what is that one thing that I do not like about the program, that is this component. Okay, so this $1,140 is made of 2 parts. The first part is again 700 and the second part is 440. Now this 440 is your one-time registration fee, meaning of which is that once you enroll here, then you don't have to repay this again. But this 700, which you can see is constant for all the 3 levels, this is your exam fee. And then the risk with this exam fee is that if you enroll for an exam and if you do not pass, then you would be required to pay these fees again. So in a simple language for Indians, what it means is that if you enroll and if you are not passing, then you are losing your 42 or 1000 rupees, you would have to repay that amount again. And therefore the strategy is that you should enroll only when you feel extremely comfortable that you are going to pass this examination. And we have developed certain modules wherein we help you understand before registering for the exams as to what would be your chances of passing the exam in the coming months. So let's go back to our agenda again. We have discussed what is CFA. We've also looked at how much does it cost. Now let's understand what kind of career opportunities are available once you are a CFA. Now we would look at it from 2 perspectives. One from an exam perspective and second in terms of the profile perspective. Okay. Now the first thing that you would know is that when you do a professional program, let us say when I did my chartered accountancy, it would take you flat 4.5 to 5 years. Now if you're somewhere here in between and you've not finished your CA or CS or any other professional program, the value in the market would not be so high, because for a professional program, the value would come when you pass the final exams here. The good thing with CFA is that recognition comes in steps or stages. So what it means is that if this is your level 1, this is your level 2 and this is your level 3. If you pass level 1, there's a ready-made job market available for level 1 qualified candidate. You get a passing certificate and that you can put on your CV. So when you pass level 1, you become a CFA level 2 candidate after having enrolled for the level 2 exams. So after level 1, you can take up a job. A level 2 would get you better quality and better profiles, and of course level 3 would get you at the cream of the positions. So this was the first aspect. Now the second aspect from the profile perspective, CFA is kind of a very generic certification. And the benefit with this kind of certification is that it opens up a spectrum of opportunities from your career perspective. So if you feel that you want to work in corporate finance, CFA is going to help you there tremendously. So meaning of corporate finance would be working as a part of a company and helping them either raise money through bank or raise money through equity, or helping them to invest into various business related projects. The second important area where CFAs would work prominently is investment banking. So again, in investment banking, a lot of people would prefer to work in areas like venture capital or private equity, or they would work into mergers and acquisitions or merchant banking related areas. So that way there are spectrum of sectors and opportunities which are available where you can work after CFA. The third big area is the research. So again, you can either become an equity research analyst, so you can work for valuations of equities, or you can get into bond markets, or if you may like, you can get into derivatives or alternative investments. Apart from that, the other major segment of industry which is becoming very dominant and which is opening up a lot of opportunities for CFA is KPO, Knowledge Processing Outsource. So there are a lot of centers throughout the country where there are established KPOs have been set, And these people would do certain outsourced work from, let's say, US client or European clients. Now the benefit here is that they would need someone who's got good knowledge of US equity markets or US bond markets, and this is where a CFA fits in perfectly. So we've seen that in the last few years, KPOs has been extremely aggressive to recruit CFA candidates, and even a level 1 candidate is being paid really handsomely in KPO verticals. And yes, the finally most important one is the Indian IT sector. So if you're an engineer or if you intend to work in one of the IT company, you would be aware that Indian IT companies would mostly have clients either from the banking and finance services sector or pharmaceutical, which is healthcare. So having CFA on your CV would prove your employer that you have a very strong domain knowledge of your client's business, and that will help you secure a good position in one of the IT companies. In fact, if you are a CFA Chartered holder, you kind of get on the resume of an IT company. So when an IT company is pitching for a project to a client, they would say that 20 or 25 CFA Chartered holders would be working on that project, and that is always an advantage from a company's perspective. So these are the various career opportunities. Now let us discuss about what would be the subjects covered and what would be the level of depth. So let's first discuss about the subjects that we would be looking at. There are 10 subjects, and the level of difficulty, the 10 subjects remain constant for all the 3 levels. The only difference is that the level of difficulty increases. So for example now, let's divide these subjects into different categories. The first subject is equity investments. In these subjects you would understand how do you value stocks, what are different valuation methodologies, and how do you decide which stock, vehicle or which equity is a good or appropriate investment. Apart from that, there is a subject on bond markets. In CFA curriculum, this is called as fixed income. Then you have a subject on derivatives. If you're scared of maths, there's nothing to worry about here. This is a financial instrument which is called futures, options or forward contracts. And then there is a subject which is alternative investments, which would primarily deal about mutual funds, ETFs, real estate, commodities, so off-bid category of investment products and vehicles. These 4 subjects collectively are called as asset valuation. So till level 2, the focus of CFA curriculum is purely going to be on these 4 subjects. So though there are other subjects, but these other subjects are modulated in such a way that the entire focus is devoted to these 4 subjects. So let's look at what are the other subjects. You have a subject called as corporate finance. So as we discussed earlier, this is one subject which will help you be a part of a company and help them raise money or help them invest into different projects. Then there is a subject called financial reporting and analysis. In level 1, this is almost 1/5 of the syllabus and is also considered as one of the core subjects for level 1 and level 2. Now in this subject, you would learn how do you analyze annual reports, how do you look at the hidden numbers within an organization, and how do you project what is going to happen and how the business is going to fare. Now if you do not have any accounting background or if you feel that you are not good at maths, there is nothing to worry. We have a separate program, we call this as CFA level 0 program or level 0 training at FinTree. And in level 0, we cover everything that one needs to know before you actually start with your level 1 preparation. So once you have a look at the level 1, level 0 syllabus, once you either attend these sessions or watch the videos, you are going to feel extremely comfortable with all the background knowledge. Then there is a subject which is called as economics. In economics, the focus would be more on financial economics and the coverage would be from a valuation perspective. Then we have quantitative methods. In quantitative methods, which is primarily stats, at level 1 it's more or less basic concepts. So it starts from mean, median, mode, it goes up to hypothesis testing. But in level 2 it becomes really interesting and it deals with regression, multiple regression, time series. And again the whole idea is that CFA Institute knows that a lot of calculation these days are performed by statistical softwares. So the way syllabus is modulated, they would not ask you to calculate a lot of things, but they would ask you to interpret. So even if you're not good at this subject, don't worry, because with time you'd get used to it, and the only prerequisite for understanding quant is having a good analytical background or way of thinking. And then there is a subject which is called as ethics. Now Ethics, I generally call this as Ramayana and Mahabharata of CFA Institute. So they will tell you all the good things you should be doing with your life, like getting up early, brushing your teeth, don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat category. Though they have, it's apparently a very easy subject to read, is also one of the most difficult subject to approach on the exam because the language is a bit tricky. But we have certain strategies developed which will help you understand this subject properly. And then finally a subject which is called as portfolio management, that after having studied all these, how do you actually put that to practice, have a fund of your client, and then how do you help him invest into different asset allocations and within asset sectors, different quality of assets. So these are the subjects. The subjects are same for level 1, level 2 and level 3, but the level of difficulty increases. So at level 1, the focus is purely on basic knowledge and concepts. So if you're someone who's good at terminology and you're conceptually clear with basic things or basic subjects dealt with, you would be okay with level 1. Level 2 is the level which I feel is relatively more challenging, more analytical. Here the focus is primarily on asset valuation. And then level 3 is purely going to focus on portfolio management. So how do you progress your career with these 3 levels is with level 1, the idea is that you can become, if you're a fresher, you would become a junior analyst, where you would be helping a senior analyst on various research front. This is where you would get to learn the skills, get to learn the tricks and techniques and skills to do hands-on valuation after level 2. And after level 3, you should be targeting to become a fund manager. So these were the 3 level of difficulties and these are the subjects. And now the last part that we want to cover in this is what are the types of examination. So again, all the 3 exams are 6-hour examination. This is your level 1, level 2 and level 3. These 6 hours are divided into 2 sorts or 2 parts. So the first one is called as morning exam, which is 9 to 12. And the second part is called as the afternoon exam, which is 2 to 5. So in level 1, you have to write 120 multiple choice questions in the morning and 120 multiple choice questions in the afternoon. So what it means is you would be given a question and then you would be given 3 choices. You have to identify which one is the appropriate one and then select the one and move on. So that is the reason why we feel that level 1 is relatively an easier exam to pass because there is no negative marking, and with 120 questions, 3 options, anyways 33.33% is coming free of cost. Right? So level 1, if you're sincere and if you put in reasonable number of efforts and time, level 1 is not at all going to be difficult. But yes, at level 2 things become a bit tricky. There are 60 multiple choice questions in the morning and 60 multiple choice questions in the afternoon. Now the format changes here a bit. So in level 2 they have a format which is called as case study, or they also call them as vignettes. So what happened in vignettes is that there would be a 1.5 page case study given to you. This case study would be followed up with 6 multiple choice questions, and again each of the question will give you 3 choices, A, B and C, and you would be required to tick on the appropriate one. The only difficulty that happens with level 2 is, one is that you need to know concepts. Second is you'll also learn to acquire the skill set to catch the right set of data from this case, because there would be a lot of redundant data given in these cases. So capturing the right set of data and then applying the concept are the skills required for level 2. In level 3, the afternoon exam is again similar to what you did in level 2. So there would be 60 multiple choice questions here. But the morning paper would be slightly different. In this paper, you would be required to write essays. Now these essays are different than what we people are generally used to think of essays. These are also called as constructed response. So what happens in a constructed response is that you would be given a case, a question and a certain space to write your answer. You have to read the case, interpret the scenario and then write an appropriate answer based on the case. So this was the exam format. So we first looked at what is CFA, the costing part of it, career opportunities. We also looked at what subject it covers, and then the type of exams that you would be required to go through. We also have certain other short video tutorials or video presentations on CA and CFA combination or CA and MBA combinations or exam passing criteria. So if you're interested, you can also have a look at them. This is Utkarsh Jain and thank you very much for your time.